And we are live with another episode of the Andor Aftershow. We're talking episode 6 tonight. Episode 6, as long as we're live. Are we live? Yeah, we are. All right, cool. I'm your host, Dimitri Pereira. We have watched Andor episode 6 before this point, and now we're here on a Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. Eastern, to talk about what happened on episode 6, because a lot happened. We got to go over it all. I don't know. Did I say my name? I'm your host, Dimitri Pereira. We also got co-host Sarah Zitney, aka Miss Marauder.
Hello.
Sarah, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm a little bit sick.
Are you?
I am, but it's okay.
Well, good thing we're zooming up and streaming, right?
Yeah, if my eyes are welling up or if I'm sniffling, it's definitely because I'm sick and no other reason.
Exactly.
Oh, I
definitely.
That's your joke. Okay.
Yeah.
I just
yeah.
assume because when you have a kid, you get sicker. Like.
Oh yeah, no, it's that too. It's that too. Her snot is all over every surface of my home. So
right,
yeah.
Right. For me, it's like every time I feel like a tickle in the back of my throat, I'm like, oh my god, is this it? Am I gonna be sick for a couple days? Oh no, I'm good. So, yeah, it is what it is. But Sarah, thank you so much for being co-host. You're awesome, and you're always great to have on these shows. But let me introduce our one-time guest for this after show. He's been on this show, or many of the Keeg shows many times. We got Justice Davis, aka Jay Likes Comics.
What's up?
What's up? Oh, you're being serious now? You're just a serious guy? All of a sudden?
I'm serious.
You're just taking everything seriously, huh?
Always, yeah. It's been like a few months since the last time I was on, so I've gone a new persona. I'm Jay Likes Comics serious version.
Yeah. Why?
Instead of Taylor's version.
Justice, what happened to the guy that took those COVID masks and cut holes and made a Batman mask out of it? What happened to that guy?
I killed him.
Okay.
I'm Kylo. I pulled a Kylo. He's gone.
There's too many things going on right now. Fair. Andor, episode 6.
I want to be free of this pain.
Imagine if Kylo shows up. No, he's not even
Right.
He's not even.
No,
born.
he's not even. I don't think it's a thought at this point.
He's
no,
not.
because. Yeah, no. It took me a minute.
I think what the Star Wars universe needs is time travel. I think we should start it with Kylo Ren coming into Andor.
It is so. Oh. Are you actually saying it?
No, God, no. Oh my God, no.
I was
because there were people online being like they're gonna bring in the Star Wars multiverse, and then anything is possible. I was like, stop saying the multiverse, please. I am an MCU fan.
We need a break.
We need a break. Like the multiverse is a concept. Like the MCU they're overdoing it, and this whole saga is gonna be the multiverse saga. So I am not personally a fan. But it is.
The only verse I'm a fan of is Spider-Verse, and you've already perfected it. Why do we need to keep going?
Yeah. Justice, I want to know up until this episode 6, right? Episode 6 is what we just watched. Episodes 1 through 5. How have you been feeling about Andor?
I feel like I always say this about every single Star Wars episode that comes out, but I truly mean it this time. I think this is my favorite Star Wars series so far.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the first episode and the second was super fucking slow. I could swear on here, right?
No, the fuck you can't.
Fuck yeah, okay. So yeah, it was super fucking slow. But then the first episode and then a bit of the second, but I was still hanging on. And then the third episode is what hooked me. And since then it's been a excellent build with not only the scenery, but the characters as well. I like the pacing. There's been some people complaining about the pacing, but I really like this pacing. And someone said that it was it felt too much like a TV show. And I was like, but it is. It is. Yeah. So yeah, no, I think the pacing is perfect. I really hope that Lucasfilm kind of, and Marvel honestly kind of takes a look at this. Yeah. Yeah, because the pacing is perfect for me for like a TV series, like a mini series. So yeah, I thought the first 3 episodes were great. And yeah.
It was a smart decision to release 3 episodes at once.
Yep, I agree.
First 3 episodes. Because even if you found the first 2 episodes slow, you're gonna push through. More people are but like if it came out once a week, then you might have given up after that first or second week. Fair.
Yep.
I wouldn't have, but fair.
Yeah, I wouldn't have either.
What this show is doing is very interesting structurally. Something that I've been talking about with She-Hulk on the She-Hulk after show that we do is that She-Hulk is doing something well, and Andor is doing the very same thing, which is multiple plot lines, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because let's be honest, like the other like Mandalorian is great, but Mandalorian was just like the camera is always on Mando, like always.
or Grogu.
Yeah, but they're always in the same place, so it's like
that's true. Yeah,
the story is always just like what's Mando up to, and it's one story, which is how movies are paced. But like A, B, and C plot lines, again, for anyone who watches the show or my co-host who's on the show all the time. I'm sorry I keep talking about A, B, and C plot lines, but this show does it, and then She-Hulk does it, and it gives it a TV feel.
Yep.
And I think what Andor does well with it is they know when to cut to a B and C storyline and when not to. Like, can you imagine if in the middle of this episode they were like, let's just check in on Cyril real quick. He's still eating his cereal? Right. And it's like, nope, we don't need that right now. We just and I trust them enough to be like, I know that Cyril's he's gonna come back in.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we're not looking at him right now. We get the quick little shot of Mon Mothma and the quick Luthen at the end, and that's these are very clearly
was in like one scene in the middle.
Yep.
Yes.
Or towards the end, actually.
Towards the end, yeah.
Towards the end,
we see kind of the aftermath of the heist.
Yeah.
Affecting everyone in our B and C plots, except for Cyril, who I'm assuming is still eating.
Right. But we also
he's eating that cereal.
By the way, Cyril and cereal. Anyway.
Yeah. I know. Cereal.
Yeah. I want to shout out a couple people in our chat right now. If you're watching us live, you're watching us on our live stream on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show or youtube.com/The Keeg Show. Or maybe you're listening to the podcast wherever you get your podcast from. But the cool thing about watching live is you get to interact with the crowd. So we got Mr. Plow out there on Twitch, and we got That One Wizard Kid out there on Twitch as well. Mr. Plow says, love the pacing because there doesn't need to be all that flash. Yes. Yeah. Andor is doing a couple of things right. They're doing multiple plot lines. They're doing 3-episode chunks. They're doing each arc is 3 episodes.
Yep.
And they're almost its own movies, right?
Yep.
In a series, right?
That's something that really drew me in was like it's kind of like Game of Thrones in a way. Like once you kind of know the pattern of like the season or like the series, it draws you in more. And I think they did a really good job at like making it a 3-episode kind of like arc for each.
Yeah. So they're doing that. They're doing multiple lines. They're doing the arcs, and then they are essentially not. Like, there are Star Wars elements, but they're not choosing to be like, hey, in the background, you can see a Gungan. Like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we're going to have a random cameo this week, and this time it's going to be the werewolf, Shistavanen Wolfman from Mos Eisley Cantina in episode 4, A New Hope. Like,
imagine.
Okay, who cares? You
know? I would still cheer. I would still be like, hell yeah.
But I wouldn't be mad.
I had him as a toy, by the way. I had him as a toy.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Because I like werewolves also. So I love
werewolves as well.
And I gave him a lightsaber from another action figure. I was like, this guy's going to be a wolfman and a lightsaber.
As he should.
What was his name? It was a Shistavanen was what they were
calling.
I
know you're...
But I don't know whether the guy at the Mos Eisley had a name. But anyway, the point being is there aren't these random Easter eggs that like Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, and even Mandalorian, right? They all have like all these Easter eggs, but I feel like Andor is all about serving the purpose of Andor. That's the mission statement. The mission, like, stick to the mission, right? It's about Andor. It's Cassian Andor's story. and the rise of the rebellion, right?
That's one thing that I really like about this series as well, is how it feels like it's its own project within the Star Wars universe. This is how I hope that the future Star Wars installments that are away from like the whole main Skywalker saga is to feel like this, to where you're still inputting like the Star Wars-esque elements, having a little bit of mentions here and there, some familiar faces, characters maybe, but like still making sure that that's not the main focus, and making sure the main focus is the characters who are like who it's about.
Yeah.
And I mean, this episode has the classic Star Wars thing of dressing up like an Imperial to infiltrate an Imperial base. Like, I think
tropes are there.
People can get caught up in like the little, it doesn't feel like Star Wars to me, because it's hard when there's no Jedis. You know, but
that being said, I want to Sarah, I've told you that I grew up on like the Expanded Universe books. Mm-hmm. Did you grow up in the Expanded Universe books?
No, my brother read them. And would not let me borrow his books.
Expanded Universe books did a really good job of just like choosing. I mean, they did a bad job that they were like, everybody in the background gets a story, which I was just like, I don't know, do we need this? But what was cool about that is that in all those stories of background characters, there really was rarely a Jedi. Like, it was just about them struggling to pay the bills. Like, there were random Star Wars stories like that. Those are the Star Wars stories that I grew up with before Episode 1 came out.
And I do feel like it's very generation-based and time-based. Because, I mean, there weren't a ton of Jedi, you know, in the original trilogy. You know, you don't get a lot of Jedi lore. But then with the prequels, it's like all Jedi all the time, baby. We're gonna go hard.
Yeah, but Jedi
so this. Did they kidnap children? You know, like when you put that, like it's all about the Jedi. So I think that if you are a prequel person, or if you grew up in that era, then the Jedi, like a Star Wars project without the Force and Jedi in it, seems kind of alien. Pardon my space pun, but yeah.
There are also there's a
it took me a minute.
There's a lack of aliens in this. Like there's a
you say that every week, but
no, but I know we have Dr. Quadpaw.
I feel like I thought that was Maz for a minute. Yeah. It was like, hold up. I was like, wait a minute, but then I saw the 4 arms and I was like, no.
His name was Dr. Quadpaw, but only in the subtitles. Like I have the subtitles on because I like watching Star Wars with subtitles. So I can read names and like kind of get used to it. But like the guy's name was Dr. Quadpaw. And he looked like Maz Kanata, but he wasn't.
Yeah. No, I was thinking like this was like, if it wasn't her, I was thinking, okay, is this a relative?
I thought so too, yeah.
But then I didn't Google to see like if he was or not, like if there's any type of relation there. Yeah. I'm assuming not, but
because Maz doesn't have 4 arms.
But technically, he could have like got with someone who had 2 arms, and then she just could have came out with 2.
Then they would have. She would have 3.
Hold on, let me pull out the Punnett square and do the charting on that. I feel like
big B, small b.
It definitely would have taken me out if it was more Maz Kanata-y. It was like a little bit familiar, but it brings me back to like this season 3 trailer for Mando, where it's like there's a little group of Babu Fricks, and you're like, Babu Fricks, you know, like I am the duality of Star Wars fans, because I like that there's not, you know, that many Easter eggs and references in the show, and it feels fresh. But then also I like was at Star Wars Celebration watching the trailer, and when I saw the little Babu Fricks, I was like, Babu Frick, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like, I want both. I want it all. And I think that's one of the things that in the Star Wars fandom can be hard, because it's like you don't have to love every single thing that comes out. Like I'm loving Andor, but I understand if people don't like it. But the whole idea is like you literally can have it all right now.
Yeah.
If you want something that's kind of disconnected and a little bit more serious, you've got Andor. If you want something that's nostalgia based, you know, you've got Obi-Wan. If you want something that's, you know, a little bit more silly, you got Boba Fett. And then if you want everything and more, you have The Mandalorian. I lost that train of thought towards the end, but I feel like, you know,
Andor to me is offering things that The Mandalorian can't. And that's okay, because the Mandalorian part of the I was gonna say lore. It's not part of the lore. Part of the lure of the Mandalorian is that he is an outsider and he gets to meet characters that we know that he doesn't know.
Yeah.
Like, he just kind of travels around and does different things, and every so often he'll pop, like, a main character from something will pop up. And that's kind of like a fun thing about Mandalorian, and I wouldn't change that. But there's also the fact that it hinges a lot on Grogu being a Jedi.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't need the Jedi. I don't need them. I kind of I like Andor in a sense because it seems like if you change the script, it doesn't have to be Star Wars. Like, if you take out the Star Wars references, the plot isn't inherently Star Wars. The plot is like dystopian science fiction.
Yeah, like it feels. I remember someone, I don't remember who it was, compared it to Blade Runner-esque, and I would agree. It feels very like cyberpunk Blade Runner, like very dystopian, and I love that. Like I'm enjoying kind of what Sarah said, to where I feel like with Andor, you're kind of getting the best of both worlds when you're having these familiar kind of creatures or characters, but it not needing to be related to said creature or character from other universes, and it just being its own thing is what helps you feel like, okay, this is a Star Wars show. But then being able to have a plot that's not really like that's relevant to Star Wars, and like obviously like the Resistance and like the Rebels, because like obviously this is like the first time like with their heist that they were, once we get into it, but like the first time with this heist proved that like, you know, you can fuck up the Empire like if you get enough people together. But I mean, being able to have these tropes but still have like an underlying story that doesn't feel, I'm trying to word it right, like it doesn't feel like anything fan based is needed to carry this show, if that makes sense.
They're not about the Easter eggs, and sure there are some, right? But they don't rely on that to have. So anybody out there watching Andor that's like, yeah, Andor, like, I don't know. When's General Grievous coming?
Where's Darth Vader coming?
Like, nobody's doing that with Andor.
Palpatine.
But I think you can appreciate Andor for what it is, because oh god damn, it's such a just a good show. I have a feeling about like the way I feel about Andor is unlike the way I feel about I felt about even The Mandalorian. And I like The Mandalorian, but it is more fantasy based. Me too. But this one scares me. Like, this show
it's real.
Me. Yeah.
Like it's
this episode, like
it was I was stressed the whole episode.
I was
sweating.
I
was actively biting my fingernails. I was so nervous. They did such a great job of, like, as the heist was going, cutting it in with the seeds of the Donnie people, like the cuts got chanting faster, and I was like, oh my god, I was like, I'm gonna have a panic attack. Like,
that was a good cut, you know? Like when it was going back and forth.
It kept going faster.
And then you see the stars.
Did you? I wrote that in my notes. Yeah. I thought they were gonna riot, and that was gonna mess up the plan.
Yeah, or
that they were actually gonna fight back.
I thought it was gonna do that, either mess up the plan, or the plan gets messed up, but then brought back on track by the riot and allows them to escape. They didn't riot. I went on some websites after I watched this show just to get people's thoughts, and it sounds really sad. Like, basically, the way the Empire treats the Donnie,
it's so gross.
It's our Native American history in America. You don't have to wipe them out. You can give them smaller and smaller concessions until they're gone, right?
Yep.
It's like, we don't need to, like, we're not gonna, there's no all-out war. It's just, hey, I just want this 5 feet. And they're like, okay. And then you ask for another 5 feet. And then you keep doing that until you push them out. And that's what they're doing in this.
The strategy they were talking about, where they were like, so along the route that they have to travel, we just put little inns with alcohol and, you know, a place to sleep. And then it picks people off. So now there's only 50 people that end up being at the eye. It's like, you guys are so gross. Like, it just made it like, I had like a physical reaction to hearing that guy, J-Hold, to hearing him talk about them like that. I was like, oh.
What's the guy's name?
J-Hold.
J-Hold.
That's the leader, the bad leader guy with the belt that wouldn't fit?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the one moment where I was like, okay, I have a little bit of empathy. I understand.
No, but he didn't blame himself getting bigger. He blamed.
Yeah, it's hard to sometimes.
But then he was also like, I'm gonna smack my kid. Like,
that's true.
Like,
we'll go on record as saying I've never had that impulse.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to shout out that one wizard kid out there because we also stream on Twitch. I have some like things that are like built in where you can pay credits on Twitch to get something. Maybe so that one wizard kid redeemed. Maybe we'll sing a song. Maybe we'll dance. That wasn't necessarily for the Andor after show. It was for the Keeg back and like those type of stuff. But you know, I'm gonna give you one of these.
When we get to Nemec, I'll pull out like a "In the Arms of the Angel."
Oh my god!
We'll
I was so upset.
Okay, a lot of people died in this. Let's take it from start to finish. I kept being like, someone's just gonna die right away, but like they surprisingly lasted a little bit. But like there were two teams, right?
Yeah.
There is Tarmarin, who ex-Stormtrooper, we just learned. There's Skeen, and we're gonna get to Skeen. We are gonna get to Skeen. We have Nemec. What's his name?
Nemec.
Yeah.
Nemec.
Yeah.
And then we have Cassian, Andor, right? That's the four.
Yep.
And then we have Gorn doing his thing. Then we have Cinta and what's the other girl's name?
Vel.
We have Cinta and Vel doing pretty good badass, like putting on the wetsuit, going through the water.
Yeah.
I loved that they had the moment of Vel, who we've seen being the leader and being super confident the whole time. But when it came time to like repel, like the point of no return for it, that she freaked out. I really like that.
Yeah. It humanized her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think it's real cowardly that all we got was a gently placing my hand on your hand.
I thought
this was the last time I ever see your girlfriend. You would have kissed her.
She didn't even kiss. She leaned in too. I was like, okay, they're gonna give a smooch, but nope.
I was like, the fact that they didn't do that.
They wanted both ways.
So mad. People are already going to call this show woke garbage because it's talking about like colonialism.
Yeah.
Let the ladies kiss each other.
Right.
But Disney and Star Wars kind of want it both ways, right? They want to be able to say, look what we did, but then they also want to say like, look what we didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's always like some type of like embrace, but never. Or in the one time they actually kissed, they were in the fucking background.
2 seconds.
2 seconds. So it's like, really, come on now. Like, just, I feel like that Mike Tyson meme. Kith. Now,
if my girlfriend was leaving and possibly could die on this very dangerous thing, and she didn't kiss me before she left, I'd be mad.
I'm gonna be honest. Even a platonic guy friend, I'm not gonna kiss, but like there's gonna be a long embrace,
like a hug. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not long. Yeah.
Like if it's the last time, if we're like going to war, we're doing a thing, like there's going to be an embrace of some sort, right? And that's on even a platonic level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for her to just be like, goodbye, and then leave.
It was very like, this is all we're allowed to do.
Yeah. It felt forced. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it felt like they didn't really want to add it, but they wanted to add it because they didn't want to get like people to like say anything, but they also didn't want people to say something if they did something more. It just felt very corporate.
Yeah, it was forced because it wasn't enough. Yeah, it's very like, hola, amigos. It is Hispanic Heritage Month. Like, it was very, it's very tokenizing.
Yeah. Happy Pride. And then, like, immediately after, they, like, turned their flag
July
back
1st,
to normal.
I didn't get to rewatch this episode, and I wanted to because there was a couple things I was unsure about. But essentially, Cinta and Vel's original thing is to block the comms, right? They go up to that tower area, that catwalk kind of tower area, to block the comms, and then rappel down and meet up with the rest, right? That's essentially all they have to do, right?
Yeah.
Put the comms. But something goes wrong. What goes wrong? The comms.
I have no idea.
They didn't block because the guy was like hearing it, right?
Yeah.
I don't get what went wrong. Did they?
I think I literally wrote in my notes, how did they mess that up?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was wondering. I had to rewind it because I thought I missed something.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't.
I have no idea.
I couldn't figure out. Now, we see the marching. We see them going in. Lieutenant Gorn gets them in, but he doesn't go in with them, right? So his cover is still intact. And then they take the guy and the guy. What's his name? Kevold? What?
Jehold.
Jehold, yeah.
Okay. And then the other guy, whoever he was, and then the wife and the son. And they take them hostage. They do that whole thing. And it does seem like they're terrorists, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, it seems like a risky plan and it looks bad. Like, it doesn't look great.
If we didn't know that they were the good guys, they wouldn't be, right? Because think about this show, this episode, from their point of view. Like, hey, we're flawed, but like we're still just normal people. That's what the Empire would say, right? Like, you know, you can't judge me just because I wanted to hit my
following
child.
orders.
Right. Following the orders. Well, even in this show, we don't have like, what proof do we have that anyone's like that the Empire's bad?
That's actually very true. Well, the closest thing would be them like basically targeting and stereotyping Cassian at the beginning, but that wasn't even like the Empire. That was
that's modern. That's modern day.
That's police. That's the
real life
PD.
Yeah. So, but the question is like the evil of the Empire that we see in all other Star Wars is not evident in this.
No, it's not really present.
Like,
so like
we see a fascist state, but we also see a sliding fascism. It's like a spectrum, so to speak.
Yeah, because what was interesting?
Excuses for them. I'm just saying we're seeing that, you know?
Because it was interesting, like when they did break in at the start of it, and then they basically threatened to kill his wife and kid. Right. Like it made you think, like, oh shit, like hold up, but then you realize like who they work for. And like you realize that he like knows and is aware and doesn't care. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, like if someone were to watch.
Sorry to interrupt. At his level, he's not dealing with the Emperor or even Vader or even Tarkin. He's not that guy. Jehold is just a shitty officer man who wants to like leave his post.
I feel like, and it played on that age-old trope of like threatening to kill a wife and son that the guy's not even that nice to. Like,
is that
you're
trope?
kind of, you're like victimizing.
Because he hated his kid.
Yeah, like he's a dick to his kid. He's mean to his wife, and then you're like, I'll kill these guys, and you're like, he doesn't even like they didn't do it. I mean, the kid doesn't want to wear the Imperial shirt to dinner. Like, he's obviously not like gung ho, you know, Empire youth. So the idea that like this kid is being aggressively traumatized, you know, it's not the best look, but you know, I was like, when they were doing that, I was like, this seems like an insane plan. And I love that we did not get the whole plan before they did it. So as we're watching this unfold, we're like, oh my God, like this.
You're like, what the hell?
It's really risky. Seems a little wild.
It's just a little unhinged.
Yeah.
I was wondering whether Jehold was saying the truth. Like he was like, you idiots, like I can't get in there.
So too.
And they're like, well, we found out that you could. So, and the guy's like, I don't know where, who told you? So they're very lucky they had Lieutenant Gorn, because Gorn was the one who could get through the bullshit, right?
Yeah.
But like he kept every single step of the way. Jehold was like, you can't do this. You can't do that. How do you don't know how to do this? And then they take those, like they take the straps off of the credits in order to move them. And so that was crazy. Then the comms come through.
Yeah.
And it's right after Cinta says, "That's the button for the airbase. Don't mess with it." Is that what she said?
Well, I think it was always part of the plan that like the airbase was gonna like notice something was up
Yeah.
and bring in support, because that's what they were saying is like we have this, you know, freighter and it's going to outrun TIE fighters. And then they explain the whole plan that, you know, we have a specific route we're going to take. So I think that, yeah, I think that they showed up earlier. It was always going to be like, hey, the power's out. What's going on? We'll send people over. But then because the comms messed up, the regular people went in.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was a little bit fuzzy on that.
That's what I got out of it.
There were two, right? There were two groups that were coming. There was the group of TIE fighters. Once they get the thing, it was just 3 fighters, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the guy on the comms who was like, "Get everybody, but we want to watch the eye. Come on."
Yeah.
And like they come in, and at that point, they're already loaded up the ship, and like every shit hits the fan, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Gorn dies immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, before Gorn is Jahold has a heart attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was kind of random. Is that random or realistic?
I have a big piece to say about it, but I'll keep it for Nemec. Because I have a big thought that also goes along with him having a heart attack.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Or I could just say it now.
I mean,
okay. Okay. One of the big problems that probably my biggest problem with The Last Jedi, which is a movie that I love, is I absolute hate with a passion of 1,000 fiery suns, that scene where Leia gets blasted out and then uses the Force.
Yeah.
I don't hate that she uses the Force, but because Carrie Fisher had already passed, I thought that's how they were going to kill off Princess Leia.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I was like, wow, what a powerful moment to just be like, you know, not everyone gets an incredibly epic death. Sometimes in war, shit just happens and you just get blown up, and even our most beloved characters. So with Nemec, I went in being like, this guy's gonna die. And they were foreshadowing it when they were like, he said he couldn't sleep, and then Cassian goes, "You'll sleep when this is over." And I was like, Cassian, you can't say stuff like that. Come on now. And then he kept surviving. There were moments when that guy was pointing the blaster at him, he survives. He saves Cassian from someone else, he survives. There were all these close calls, and then he gets taken out because they accelerated too fast and he gets squished by the payload.
Right.
Which is also
the
fair,
internal
right?
bleeding. Right? Yeah, which is like a real dumb way to die, but it's realistic. And so this idea that this character...
fishermen on the big long trawlers get crushed by cages like all the time?
I didn't know that, but that checks.
Holy shit.
It's the same. It's like the same thing on those big, you know what I mean, those big fishing boats.
Yeah.
Those big cages slide around and they kill people.
And it gave me that moment that I was so wishing that moment was in The Last Jedi, where it's like, I've grown to love this character so much in the little time I've had with him. And I went in being like, I know he's not going to make it out. And then they kept giving him these near misses. And I was like, oh, maybe I was wrong. And then it was such a gut punch. Well, I mean, you know, like when that happened to him, and it was like, yeah, it wasn't heroic. It wasn't as he was saving Cassian. It was when they were done, and the same thing with him dying of a heart attack. You know, it's like, it's just this kind of random thing that happened that wasn't like a glorious death. It wasn't remarkable. It was just, he had a heart attack. He got smushed by all the Imperial credits. Like it's so sad and so like realistic, and that's what I really, really appreciated.
He saved Cassian's life though with one shot. Right?
Yeah.
Which was because I was this whole episode scared me. I was so on edge.
Same. Yeah.
I thought though that Vel did a thing. There was kind of I thought she did a dick move, but it turns out that wasn't the case. I thought she used the stim or whatever it was called to burn him out, essentially, to bring him up so he can get them out of there, but burn him out. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Instead of healing him,
basically kill him faster.
Instead of healing him slowly over time, you get up like an adrenaline spike. You get him up to where you can use him, and then he
Yeah, because Skeen had that line where he said, "Oh, are you disappointed that he's alive?" But I think that was because going to the doctor was a complication, and if he was dead, they wouldn't have to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
But now I can't trust anything that Skeen says. So
yeah.
The whole thing.
We'll get to Skeen, but you're right that like you have to rewatch the episode and just be like, now having that in mind, how can we, what's going on with Skeen?
How can I trust anything?
That's a good amount of thing. Gorn dies first, and I feel like it was sad, but like he wanted he felt bad that he was the bad guy to the Donnie who he was undercover to help in the end, right?
Yeah.
And the Donnie had like essentially cut him out, right? And he knew what was happening. He was there the whole time, and he gets taken out really fast. It's like a split second. You just see him pop out.
Yep.
Then the next person to die, and I'm assuming die, because they leave him behind, but like...
he wasn't moving.
He wasn't moving. Is Tarmarin dead?
I don't know, because I'm even wondering if, Jahold...
Yeah.
I'm wondering if he's even dead, because I'm assuming he is, because it was a heart attack, but I don't know. And that's why I'm kind of wondering if they're purposely kind of doing that to where they might make a glorious comeback.
Or
but
I
feel like
execution scene?
Possibly. Yeah. But I mean, I don't think so. I think they're dead. Unless
it tracks back to Luthen somehow, right? That's the whole problem. What if having one guy alive? What if crazy idea. What if Tarmarin's alive and the rebels have to go back in just to kill him? So he can't speak. They can't save him. They just have to knock him off.
Part of me is thinking about the show in the 3 episode arcs.
Yeah.
And because this little story is over, I feel like everyone that's dead is dead.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling.
But you never know.
Yeah. And that's what, honestly, I kind of do hope they keep that. Because as much as I did like Gorn and what's his face? I'm blanking out his name.
He's like a tragic hero, Gorn. Even Tarmarin, they're all...
Yeah, Tarmarin, there we go. Yeah. Still, I feel like if they're gonna bring anyone back, bring Nemec back. But he's my favorite. But
he's gonna live on through that manifesto.
He will, exactly. Yeah. But I think who's gone's gone, and I would assume, because how many more episodes do we have?
6. We have 6. This is only halfway through the season.
So there's no way. I think what's going to happen is there's going to be a one more arc probably to finish out this season or the series.
Two more arcs to finish out the season, right? 6 more episodes.
Yeah, if we're thinking 3.
Oh yeah,
3 episodes. Then there's 2 more.
Yeah, so 2 more. Ooh, yeah.
One
so
there's Saw Gerrera.
Saw Gerrera.
One is Saw Gerrera.
Most definitely.
One, but I don't know. But that's all we know. Cinta is left behind on that planet. So I think.
Yeah, she said.
I don't think the characters are gone. I think Cinta. Somebody said what if, and this is crazy. What if the Empire, in retaliation, wipe out the Donnie?
I wouldn't put it above them.
Yeah.
I could see that being something so massive that it's brought to more people's attention, and that's when people are like, fuck the Empire.
Right. That's the thing though. That's the thing about the Empire and the Rebellion right now. It's it's just boiling, right? The Rebellion can't get too big because it's not there yet at any point. You know what I mean? The big rebellion stuff happens in 4, 5, and 6. This is the boiling to unite the tribes, essentially. Right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what this is. Because there's the terrorist section. There's the senators. There's everybody's trying a different tactic to defeat the Empire. But they kind of need everybody.
Yeah.
They need mercenaries like Cassian. And they need people.
Ex-stormtroopers.
Ex-stormtroopers, you know? The delivery when he said that, the Donnie
you should have been here when Cinta found out because they slaughtered her entire family. I was like, oh, dang. But of course, Skeen said that. But I think
we got to break down Skeen right now.
I feel like that's
true. We got to break down Skeen right now, okay?
Yeah.
Skeen, his turn at the end. Can we agree that, like, he was speaking sincerely, that he wanted to just split it and run?
Oh, yeah.
I think so. I had a moment where I was like, is this a test? Is he trying to test Cassian's loyalty?
Right.
But we'll never know.
I think Cassian's saying to Vel, think about it, and her being like, it could be possible. Like, I think that was a thing. But there were things that Skeen said throughout the episode. Trying to sew little things in, right? He's that stormtrooper, Cinta. He wanted to see if Cassian was as scummy as he was, right?
Yep.
Under the veil of not being scummy, right?
Yep.
Everything he did to Cassian was to test him to see whether he was scummy.
Yeah.
And he chose wrong. Because Cassian, that was the fastest draw I've ever seen in my life.
Literally, he said, bye. But, like,
was it mid-sentence even?
Was it?
Was Skeen mid-sentence?
I don't
came out of
think
nowhere.
I don't think so. I think it was, like, right after he ended a sentence, though. Like, period. Like, it was quick.
Period.
Period. Just wrote "oh shit" in all capitals on my notes.
That was wild.
Oh shit. That's how I felt though, and that's the thing that made me think that like he wasn't being like that he was being genuine with what he was saying, was because I feel like Cassian as a character, from what we've kind of seen and know of him, he's very observant and he's very like he I feel like has a really good intuition with people, and he's fast when he pulls the trigger, and every time he's pulled the trigger he's pulled it right. So I feel like just with that happening and it happening so abruptly and so quickly and immediate, I knew that he was full of shit. So
I completely agree. I trust Cassian's judgment implicitly. I feel like and they've shown us that, right? Like with him noticing who's left-handed, who's right-handed, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think that if he even sniffed it, he would have been like, is this a test kind of thing?
Mr. Plow says Greedo had more discourse. I mean, Greedo he was just like, Greedo got to talk a little bit. Well, I mean, Skeen got to talk.
He did talk.
Skeen got to talk more than Greedo.
They talked it through. Andor had enough that he was like, yeah, well, it's either him or me, right? Because, like, what? Andor could accept his thing and then still get stabbed in the back, turn it down, and get killed.
Yeah.
What's the, like, it's not safe.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what he did too, like at the beginning of Rogue One, like when he shot that one guy. Like it seems like whenever like his safety or like is like being tested, or like if it's threatened at any point, or like if the safety of the plan, like if he's not willing to make sacrifices. If he thinks that you're like a threat, he's gonna fucking take you out.
Well, that is making sacrifice, right? Or is it?
Well, you're right. You're not wrong.
He's ruthless.
He's ruthless. There we go.
He knows he needs to go from point A to point B. Like the guy in Rogue One, I forgot exactly what it was until I rewatched it again. The stormtroopers were coming down one way. There was only one way to get out of that situation. That's to climb the ladder. And the guy's like, my arm is broken. There's no way I'm going to get out. And then he's like, all right. Kills him. And then he climbs up the ladder.
Savage.
Damn. And
he said, I don't have time to waste.
In Rogue One than he is in here, right?
I agree.
He's supposed to be? He's not supposed to be.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to be. Yeah, I think he's supposed to be battle worn. He's been doing that. He's been doing it for 5 years. Yeah, in Rogue One. And we're going to see him, I think, take a little bit of that true believer stuff from Nemec. I think he does believe in the cause very strongly in Rogue One, but it's never going to get to the point where Nemec, was at. R.I.P. My idealistic king. Where, it was all about the philosophy for him.
Somebody mentioned that Skeen doesn't cover Tarmarin. When Tarmarin says, cover me, cover fire.
Oh,
he
I didn't notice
didn't.
that.
Skeen doesn't
He
cover.
didn't.
He like shoots
He was
off
just
one
sitting
shot
there.
and he like crouches back. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed that too.
Whereas Nemec
I forgot
sticks out.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible how I'm immediately like, I feel like they've done such an amazing job in getting me invested with the characters because as we're talking about, I'm like, yeah, fuck Skeen. He's my number one enemy.
Right?
I'm like,
Yeah.
I was totally cool with this guy like 12 hours ago.
Well, he said like, "What about your brother?" I don't have a brother.
Yeah.
But
Which
then,
I didn't know how to read that. I didn't
Yeah.
know if that meant my brother's dead, so fuck it. Or I'm sorry, I'm
Right.
swearing a lot right now.
Eh.
Or if it meant that's a made up story.
Right.
But either
That's
way,
how-
I think it's 6 one way, half dozen the other, as they say.
I've never heard that, but okay, cool.
You've never heard that?
No.
Oh, maybe I'm an old person.
6 one way.
Maybe
Six-
I'm an old person.
6 one way, half dozen the
Yeah.
other.
Different ways to say
potato,
something. Yeah.
potato.
Yeah. But with Skeen, yeah, it was either it was made up or my brother's dead. What does it matter that I'm like anything else, right? Like the rebellion doesn't matter, you know. But
Yeah.
what did he say? I'm a rebel just for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
I feel like
is kind of the definition of a rebel, so I can't really.
I know,
fault him
like-
for that.
Well, but he's self-serving rebel. It's not a rebellion
Yeah.
against an organization.
anything. No, he was out for himself.
Yeah.
You're like, that's being a dick.
Yeah. So
And
that's being a dick.
especially to have spent so much time. I know I'm showing my clear bias here, but to spend all that time, all those months with Nemec and listen to him and have it go in one ear and out the other and still be like, let's
Right.
just split the money. I'm only in it for myself. Like
Right.
he must have clocked Cassian immediately when Cassian was like, I want to win and walk away. But
Yeah.
he totally underestimated Cassian in that because that's, Cassian's not going to do that at the expense of betraying people he said he was going to help.
Exactly. Like his word is more than, and now that I'm thinking about it too, I'm thinking back to a couple episodes ago to where why am I blanking out his name? There you go. When he came and met with him to grab the thing that Bix made.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, you have my word. So like clearly his word is very strong to him. And so that means more than anything. And so again, it just goes to show that like it's not the same. Like they have kind of like the same idea to a degree with like, like the money and the profit for it, like a bit of selfishness, but like Cassian is still a little more morally sane when he's giving words to people, opposed to Scheme to where he said fuck it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm so used to my superhero comics and whatnot, and normally what happens in comics and like fantasy and whatnot is that you have this character who is the mirror image of your hero. Now they're going to be rivals going forward, and like we're going to see this kind of thing. And no, Scheme's dead.
He's dead.
Yeah.
And that's just what happens. That's what happens in this genre. That's the thing. Like, this is such an interesting genre of Star Wars because it's Star Wars stripped down to the ideology.
Yeah, because that's usually how it works. Like that's always been a trope with Star Wars, to where it's like they build this character up and then oh, he's gone. Bye-bye. Like, yeah.
And also the thing I like about Andor is that like my problem with Star Wars main movies and also even more so the new trilogy is that I'm of the belief that like to be a hero you don't have to be related to the Skywalkers. To be a villain, you don't have to be related to the Emperor. Like you could be a nobody. I wanted Rey nobody. That's what I
did too.
But then that's showing that. But then like Star Wars is all about like you just have to be like the hero and the villain. Like that's how the universe runs itself. But in Andor, in Rogue One, it's about the choices that you make. It's about that anyone can matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like anyone can make a difference. Everyone matters. Each person, each rebel soldier in the end of Rogue One that did the relay race with the files mattered. We don't know their names. We'll never know their names unless they like come up and they write something about it. But like we don't know their names.
We're gonna get a spin-off for each of those individual characters.
Yeah.
On a comic book on each of those individual characters.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But like we don't need to know their names to know that they mattered. Right?
Yeah.
They're not all Skywalkers. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of that, like, yeah, to matter in this great, grand galaxy far, far away, you have to be blood related to either Skywalker line or Emperor.
Yeah, exactly. Rey Palpatine. But yeah, I agree. I just
Rey, but I love
I do
Rey
too.
Nobody. Rey Nobody is the Rey that we all needed, you know?
Yeah, and I don't care if she like wants to adopt the Skywalker name. She's still like she wouldn't have his blood. It's just the whole
cool.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree. I like the fact that it's showing because isn't that not like the essence of Star Wars in general? Like basically the rebels, right? The resistance. It's about a team of people of nobodies fighting for a greater cause, fighting for something greater than them. Yeah. And so it like, and you know what I mean? And that like what you just said, everyone matters. Every single person matters because it's a team. In tonight's episode, when we were watching back and like seeing everyone kind of work as a team, and they kept reiterating, like, if one person doesn't do their job, we're all fucked. We're all going to die.
Right.
And so, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of like the core essence of like what the resistance and the rebels are built on is like that unit, like that unity.
And it's a very, I feel like the vibe, especially of this episode, was like, I feel like all the missions are going to be like little tiny Rogue Ones. Like, and I don't say that in a way to like belittle it or say it's derivative of Rogue One, because I don't think it is. But this idea of like, this is a group of people that we're never going to hear about again. They're not in the history books, but they're going to do a thing that's going to be of consequence. So we see at the end, everyone kind of scrambling about it, you know, call your wives, call your families. You're not coming home tonight. We need to do this emergency retaliation plan. We see Mon Mothma giving this speech and everyone is leaving the Senate. You know, we see Luthen, which I just love that ending scene of Luthen just laughing.
Celebrating,
Well, because he's scared.
He's terrified.
He heard that voice, right?
Yeah.
He was like, oh shit.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good. And it was a perfect with like him being worried at the end of last episode and him laughing here. Just glorious. But I if I may for a moment, get on Sarah's contrarian corner.
Okay.
So I saw things, a friend messaged me about it on Instagram, and I saw a TikTok and a couple tweets about it, that Nemec's last words are climb, which are also K2SO's last words, because they're climbing up that middle thing. That is not true.
Oh.
Everyone's talking about it. Yeah.
So, I was like, hold on. I was like,
oh no, K2SO's last words are as
he says goodbye.
Dying.
Yeah, he says goodbye. So he tells him and Jin to climb. And then he says a couple more things of like, you can still get it, you know, out if you open up the shield. And then he yells K and then he says goodbye. And with Nemec, he yells at him to climb. So there's definitely a parallel of K2 and Nemec both.
Also, the last thing he does is drop. It's not
he says dive, and then he gives them the coordinates. But everyone's like, I was like, that would be amazing if it was true. But I mean, they're both shouting climb at Cassian, you know, in their final moments, which is a nice parallel. But yeah, it's not. I think you're going to see a lot of people over the next couple of days be like, they both had the same final words. Because my friend sent me a DM about it, and I read the article, and then like I hopped on TikTok, and I almost immediately saw a video of someone being like, it was both their last words.
Did you do a rebuttal?
No, I'm not going to argue with people in the comments of the TikToks.
Yeah, especially Star Wars. Like that's scary. Yeah, people are ruthless.
And when people are being nice about it, like when people were in Rogue One being like, I thought it was many Bompins that died to bring us this information. Then I did the like, actually that's the second Death Star, because they were jerks about it. But if someone is like genuinely like, I think this is a nice moment, I'm not going to be like,
Actually,
Yeah.
you are incorrect.
I went and rewatched these moments of this movie and this episode, and they say other things.
Yeah. Let me show you here.
Yeah.
At some point, we're gonna get a Bothan storyline, right?
I hope so. We're getting the what is Mon
Death
Mothma keeps bringing up is it Gormans or
Gormans, yeah.
Keeps bringing them up, which is a Rebels plotline, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I love the show. Yeah, every time when it ends, I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna survive another week. As opposed to I'll just wait another week, right? Yeah. Like for most shows, this show I'm like, what am I doing in the next week? I need to fast forward, you know?
And there's no like closure, because I know you always ask, where do we think it's going next? I have no idea where it's going from here. No idea. And last week it was like, I'm nervous because I know the heist is coming up, and now it's like I'm anxious because I want to know more, and I have no idea where we go from here.
Like could be.
And all I know is it's going to be crazier. Like if we thought the heist was crazy, I would assume that there's going to be it's going to get more intense. Episodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to see Saw Gerrera murdering people in cold blood.
I don't like Saw Gerrera. Like he's too
extremist.
He is.
Well, because especially the way he treats Bodhi. Wait, Bodhi, right?
Yeah, he's the pilot. Yeah, Bodhi.
Yeah.
But the way he treats him, I'm like, he didn't deserve that. He was a good guy. Like he defected. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's kind of the thing about Saw Gerrera. He's a tragic hero. There's the fall from grace where he's like, and then he starts thinking Jin is a trap, right?
I like that you said tragic hero, and the word that I was thinking was problematic fave. And I was like, those are I was like, as a House of the Dragon watcher, I've had to make peace with the fact that my favorite character might literally be a murderer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and that's okay.
Doesn't mean I condone murder.
In Game of Thrones or in Star Wars, like murder is like it doesn't mean that like they're not a good person.
You're a terrible person.
My favorite character in House of the Dragon literally murdered his own wife just because he didn't like her and wanted to marry somebody else.
Oh, never mind. That's bad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty.
Yeah, but as opposed to like Star Wars murder, where it's like
there's always a more gray area, I think, with Star Wars murder.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing with like, I guess like Marvel to a degree. Like it's just kind of like, like murder, like that was fucked up murder, but also he was mind controlled, so it wasn't him.
Oh,
like
Bucky,
you know what I mean?
Bucky killing the Starks, right? Like cut him a lot of slack for it, but he was mind controlled. But then how do you deal with that?
That's like the age-old question.
How do you process it, you know?
He did it.
Well, there's like a theory, or not a theory, a mind, a thought experiment, should I say, where like if a guy has mind control, do you put the body or the mind in jail, like after they commit a crime? Like, do you put the guy in jail? Do you put the tools that he uses, which are people, right? Like if I can mind control Justice and I make Justice commit a crime, you put Justice's body in jail, or do you put my mind in jail? Like me.
The cops would definitely put me in jail.
Well,
they'd be like,
Justice, let's be honest. I don't know whether either one of us are getting through that.
I know. I was about to say, like, we're both we're both going to jail. We're getting the death penalty.
I don't think we're getting to jail. I think I don't.
You think we'll escape? Like they'll be like, oh, you know what? Pass.
No, I'm saying they will kill us. That's what I'm.
Oh. Wow.
I like how hopeful you are. You're saying there's a chance we'll get out of this.
Like, wait, we'll survive?
It's okay, guys. I'll just cry, and then they'll be like, oh. This nice white lady's crying. We'll let him go.
Yeah, they'll be like hashtag justice for
justice.
Yeah. And then
I'll put together the hashtag.
But then there's anti-mutant hysteria for me because I'm mind controlling people. You know?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Justice. I didn't mean to drag you into this.
Yeah, no more mutants.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. At the end of this, like, the way I want to close up this after show episode is like, yeah, what do we think is going to happen? But I have no clue. There's 6 episodes left.
Yeah.
I can't deal with this.
I couldn't even tell you or guess what could happen, but all I know is that I'm not prepared and I just need I need to know. It's crazy that the show is doing this to me because again, this is the first not only Star Wars series, but the first show in a while that I've been like super like hooked on to where it's like I want to see the next episode. Like I wish I could binge this.
Yeah.
I'm happy that it's not binge because you guys were talking before about Stranger Things. And I think that the thing that hurt Stranger Things the most is that it wasn't
bingeable.
Because it was amazing for like the 3 weeks that we were talking about it. And then it was like completely out of the
people's mouths.
Yeah. So
TV culture hinges on like memes, theories, that sort of thing. Like
I love how long we get to be with these characters. I love how long the show's going to be. And I think they've kind of taken that away from us so much with like the 6 and 9 episode long Disney Plus series where we're like, even as we're talking about now, we're like, I need to know how it's going to end. And it's like, oh, we're only halfway through. Like
I got excited. I was like, thank God.
Yeah. But
not only, by the way, is it 6 episodes till the end of the season, 12 more episodes for season 2. And then we reach Rogue One. So like, it's Mr. Plow out there will understand. This week's House of the Dragon was also the best episode they've had so far. And then to come off of that high and watch this episode, which is the best episode in the season so far of Andor, is a good TV week for me. And now like She-Hulk just has to close it out. Yeah.
She-Hulk because it's the landing,
I don't watch Rings of Power, so it's their finale this week too, I think.
Yeah. I think so.
But yeah, it's the She-Hulk finale. So it's like She-Hulk, you know, it doesn't have to land it because I'm much more emotionally invested in Andor and House of the Dragon. But they both had absolute bangers this week. So I think
next week will be even better, especially for House of the Dragon, because if they follow Game of Thrones, next week's the episode where shit's gonna get crazy. It already got crazy.
Oh, it's getting crazy.
But if that was crazy, I feel like because there's there's this Sunday and then there's the final Sunday, which I think is like the finale. So I would assume that this is the episode because it's always the episode before the finale.
9.
Yeah. That's always where shit like you think it hits the fan, but shit really hits the fan in that one. So I think this Sunday is gonna be crazy.
I'm so excited.
Me too. It's so good.
If a future me came back in time from a week from now, future me comes back in time and they're like, Dimitri's like, hey, Dimitri, the next episode of Andor, they go to Oda Gunga. It's a 3-episode arc all about Gungans. Right now I'd be like, yeah, okay,
I trust that they'll do that well.
Yeah, I trust. Anything could happen, you know.
I thought you were going to say if I came back and said, do you want to know what happens on the next Andor episode or on the next House of the Dragon episode? Which would I pick?
I thought that's where he was going to.
Yeah. No. What? But which one? If a future Sarah came back in time, like.
Well, the answer is Andor because there's not a book of Andor.
I would rather.
So I can't.
That is fair.
Watch Andor though, you know.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't want anyone to tell me. Yeah,
I don't want a future me spoiling it. I want to. If a future me came back with all the episodes, I would binge it right now. Like, I can't.
Yes,
I cannot.
I would binge it.
I can't wait for this new episode. It's tougher for me for this show than any of the Star Wars shows.
Same.
It was such an amazing episode, but it was as a card carrying member of the Let Cassian Andor Be Happy for like 20 seconds club. It was rough. that they got this job done, and then immediately was like, oh, this guy's doing a mutiny, like he's trying to he's like, just let this man rest for like,
can he breathe? Can he just breathe for a second?
He's miserable forever.
Seriously though, like I don't blame him for being ruthless. Like he can't fucking catch a break since he was a child. Like he is.
I mean, he's got lots of ladies. He's having some good times out there.
Well, that's how he's coping, right?
Yeah.
Just hitting on everything and seeing what happens. So, you know. I want to thank both of you so much for coming on the show. Are there any final thoughts that we have? Anything that we didn't hit for this episode 6 of Andor?
Mm-hmm. Hold on, let me peruse my notes. No, I think
I think we
the TIE Fighters launching was beautiful.
Fucking
that
epic.
made me so happy.
Yeah.
And it really was like this scrappy rebellion that's like kind of just like flying by the seat of their pants. And then the TIE Fighters coming in, and the visuals of the eye were just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a testament to how good the action of the episode was that we didn't at any point be like, wasn't that gorgeous? Like, because it was, but everything in the episode was so good.
Yeah. I honestly think that, and it's funny that we didn't bring it up until now, but I think that that's one of my favorite sequences in any Star Wars project so far, because it was just so well done, so visually stunning. I don't want to say, don't quote me on that, because like I'll come back and I'll be like, actually I like this one more, but like I feel like it's up there for me because it was perfect. It was really well done. That whole.
Are you talking about the TIE Fighters like going through with the asteroids and them knowing exactly where to go? But
Good. It was so good.
Yeah.
I kept imagining like, what if like it's a very like Top Gun, like Tom Cruise, like it's Tom Cruise in the TIE Fighter.
Maverick
comes, you know, like,
and it's very Han Solo in the asteroid field too.
Yeah,
they were badass though. Those TIE Fighters, I
love TIE Fighters
being taken out so easy, but like
they're so cool though.
Sure, to a Skywalker, TIE Fighters aren't that big of a deal. But to these guys are on the ground. These are boots on the ground. They can get taken out by a TIE fighter anytime. Like, they're scary. You know?
Yeah, and they're piloting like essentially a freight car from a train.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's no way they can outrun them. Yeah, just a gorgeous sequence. Made me so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And anytime I see the TIE Fighters like on that rail where they have to hop in, I don't know why. It fills me with so much joy the way they just hop into it.
And then you hear the siren in the background.
Yeah.
It reminds me of if you ever played the Jedi Knight video games. Like,
I've heard of them, but I've never played them yet.
You can't fly a TIE fighter, but they're props essentially. And if you type in your code where you can walk, like you can like fly, there were codes back in the day for video games. You can do like God mode or whatever, but you could like walk up and up on top of the TIE fighters and just kind of like walk around and whatever.
You're like, let me in, let me in,
let me in.
There was a code where you can walk through walls, and so you can like walk through.
Oh, like a glitch.
Yeah, that was back in the day. Like computer games used to have a lot of those codes. God mode, infinite ammo. You know.
See, I didn't remember codes. For me, it was like going on YouTube and watching like the glitches where people would be like, "Yeah, you press X0 and then it lets you jump further than you thought." I never had the codes.
Yeah. I mean, certain games would just allow you to have codes, like it's just part of the game. I want to thank both of you so much for doing this, talking about episode 6 of Andor. Sarah, wonderful co-host. Where can we find Miss Marauder online?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok. Doing TikTok, just very random content always. Instagram, we got some cosplay things, Halloween things coming up.
Awesome. Miss... not hyphen, Miss.
Ms. _ Marauder.
Okay. Yeah. And Justice, where can we find you online?
You can find me at J Likes Comics on Instagram and TikTok. Handle is both the same. And yeah, I post there daily, twice a day. Funny meme content. content on my Instagram. I have stories that you can interact with. I have polls on there. Haven't recently because I've been more busy, but I'm trying to get back on that pool game. But yeah, you can follow me there.
Awesome. For anyone out there who is watching us live or watching the video after the fact, it's going to be on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show or youtube.com/The Keeg Show. But pretty much you can find us anywhere online at The Keeg Show or /The Keeg Show. So TikTok and Instagram are our big social media. That's at The Keeg Show. But we're also on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, that sort of thing. At The Keeg Show or /The Keeg Show. If you're listening to the podcast, you can't see us, but trust in our voices. That's podcasts wherever you get your podcasts: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, iHeartRadio. We're on 5 different podcast channels there, so you can find us wherever you guys are at. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, write a review, do something to let us know that you're out there and that you're watching, that you're enjoying things. It's always nice to know like who's out there and who's like partaking and digesting in whatever way, shape, or form. This is the Andor After Show. We do this every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. Eastern. We also have the final She-Hulk After Show after this in a couple hours at 1 a.m. And then She-Hulk is done, at least for the season. We have Comic Talk every Thursdays, and then every other weekend we have the Geek Talks, where we talk about a different geek topic every other geek week. Not this weekend, but next weekend we're talking Black Adam, because Black Adam comes out not this Friday, but next Friday. I'm trying to put together a costume to go see it, but we'll see.
That'll be dope.
My work has a 3D printer, and they're like, yeah, you could use it. You could use the 3D printer if you just have to pay for the filament. And I'm like, all right, let's see if I can get a Dr. Fate helmet made.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what I'm trying to put together.
Gotta give yourself time.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
gonna take like 3 days to print. So just give yourself time.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it works. I'm not doing it. The guy at work does it, and so I'm like, okay, cool. Like if he's able to do it, then we'll see how it goes. If I don't get it, I don't get it. But anyway, thank you to everybody out there for watching. Mr. Plow, we saw Ricky Briz 98 pop in. First time chatter. Thank you, Ricky Briz. We got Duck Dodger 714. We had that one Wizard Kid out there. So all you guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Again, follow us on social media. Like, comment, subscribe. Like, help us out. Do that. We got a Patreon. Patreon.com/The Geek Show. All that good stuff. Either way, I'm your host, Dimitri Pereira. And this has been the Andor After Show, talking about episode 6. We'll see you next week for episode 7. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.